Hey everyone, it's Jendi here, the Reverend Jendi Burwell. I was going to record this tonight in the dark so that it added to the kind of vigil, the night watch kind of thought, but I thought, no, now's good too. So the last couple of videos I've done, I talked about morning prayer loosely, some way of greeting the day. And then I talked about all of the different 7 sacred pauses. And one of them that isn't done a lot, unless you're in a monastery or something, is the one called vigil. So the middle of the night. And yet I've been thinking about that because whilst we might not get up in the middle of the night to go and do our ritual, our prayers, we may often be awake in the middle of the night. Or we may find ourselves in a vigil kind of period, and that could be for days or weeks. It could be lockdown, or it could be you're waiting for a test result, or you're sitting, at someone's bedside at the time of death, and that could go on for a while. So we often have these times of vigil, these times where we're waiting. And I thought, well, maybe some of the things that the traditional vigil prayers can be helpful. So sometimes we'll still do this even in our small Anglican church in New Zealand. There'll still be Easter vigils where they'll get up early before dawn and say some special Easter Sunday prayers and worship, or midnight mass for Christmas Eve, which is the first Christmas Day service. That's a type of vigil. It's in the middle of the night. However, I want us to think more than just the literal middle of the night and think about vigil. So this book has a little phrase which had me wonder about doing this video. It says, vigils are a time of exquisite beauty. It is a time of waiting and watching under the mantle of mystery. It can be a prayer of waiting without agenda, without urgency sometimes. You're just waiting. Waiting in itself has the potential of being a prayer of faith. And the idea is to not turn away from that darkness, to turn away from that waiting, but instead to wrap your fluffiest blanket around you and be okay in that darkness or in that waiting. It tells a story about waiting for teenage children to come home in the middle of the night. That too is a vigil where you are just waiting. Maybe you can't sleep because you're worrying. There's so many times through our lives that we will have a time of vigil. There is a song on the CD or the Spotify playlist that comes with this. And these are the lyrics. In this sacred darkness, I sit in silence. Open in this moment, I trust in the darkness. Waiting in trust, growing in trust. Waiting and trusting the sacred darkness. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. If you look up on Spotify, 7 sacred pauses, you will find the music that goes along, because there's a really great morning one as well. And so I'll just show you what it looks like. Hopefully, here we go. So that's what it looks like on Spotify. 7 sacred pauses. And there's songs in there for all 7 of the times. And some of the early morning and some of the middle of the night vigil ones are really beautiful. And it does not have to be dark or the middle of the night to be in a time of vigil. So I commend, I guess, that thinking to you, that sometimes we find ourselves in a time of vigil really unexpectedly, and some of the skills that we might have learned, if we had that cycle, that rhythm of prayer, because you learn skills in times that aren't crisis. You learn how to sail in the safe water. But those practices are really important when you find yourself out in the darker, deeper water, or when a storm comes up. But you don't learn to sail in a storm. So hopefully we can practice some of these things where we've learnt some of these prayerful responses, this calming way of being, the sitting and waiting in a vigil. We've learned how to do them so when we need that skill, we have it. My prayer to end: through our joys and our sorrows, you keep watch. Through our days and our nights, you keep watch. Through the passing of our years, you keep watch. In our youth and in our aging, you keep watch. In our destruction of the earth, you keep watch. In our caring for the earth, you keep watch. In the midst of the violence on our earth, you keep watch. In our peaceful times, you keep watch. In the seasons of our hearts, you keep watch. Through the seasons of the years, you keep watch. Teach us, like you, to keep watch. Give us vigilant hearts. I hope and trust, wherever you are in this time of level 4 for Auckland lockdown, that we collectively are keeping watch and holding vigil. And sometimes in our lives, those things happen to us unexpectedly. God is keeping watch, and we can too. God bless. Until next time, I'll see you all soon, hopefully.